So, Stephen, 48 hours to go before our Conference League playoff first leg at Tallaght Stadium. How have preparations been going so far?
Yes, preparations have gone okay, gone quite well. Keane Cavan is ruled out with a back injury. Alex Nolan has an issue with his hip. But everyone else should be 100%. I feel last couple of days, has allowed us to prepare well for the game on Thursday, and we'll train tomorrow and make sure we're right.
A hectic schedule, Stephen. The first leg on Thursday, a league match in Dundalk on Sunday afternoon, and then travel to Turkey to play the second leg next Wednesday. So it's a busy, hectic period.
Yeah, I mean, by the time the game is over on Thursday night in Tallaght, it'll be 10 o'clock at night, and we start the warm up on Wednesday at 4:10 because it's an earlier kick-off and 4:10 Irish time. So that's 5.5 days. The fact, this is the biggest game and one of the biggest games in St Patrick's Athletic history. The fact that the opportunity to get to the group stages and 2 games in 5.5 days is tight enough. But the fact that we've actually had a third game inserted in the middle of that against Dundalk in Oriel Park on Sunday is insane. Really, it's absolute. It's to expect the players to actually put in the greatest performance of their lives against Başakşehir in Turkey on Wednesday, having already played 2 games in such a short period is hard to fathom, really. Because we're trying to maximise our performance, to outperform ourselves and to play to a level. Our opponents, of course, they won the Turkish League a couple of years ago, and they beat Manchester United in the Champions League. So they're in the Champions League group stage. They beat Manchester United, amongst others. So they've had some good results. So for us to beat them over 2 legs, we'll have to absolutely play the performance of our lives. So to have a league game put in the middle of the 5 days, to give you 3 in 5.5 days, is sort of makes it extremely difficult. We've seen Larne, for example, in Northern Ireland. They've made exceptions. They've cancelled the league game so the club can prepare, and that's advantageous. That gives you an opportunity. So it's not you're trying to peak and absolutely outperform yourself, not just get through a game, and that's the difference. Players can get through 3 games in that period, but not play to a level that they need to play to in order to win, and that's the point.
And I know with the level of preparation that yourself and the performance and sports science and medical staff look at these games, and you guys are in constant communication about the players' loads and fatigue and muscle injuries and stuff as well. It is going to be a huge ask for them to try and do that, and as you said, with 2 of the biggest games of their careers and in the history of the club, either side of what will be an important league game.
Yeah, and listen, any of the league clubs, I understand their point of view, because they all have their own seasons to fight for. Whether that's a club pushing for Europe or a club avoiding relegation, you can't blame any other club. It's not a question of that. You're looking for a decision from the FAI to sort of give you a real opportunity, and because the provision is there to do that, but you've chosen not to do that. So that's one thing we're just going to have to get on with, and we will get on with it. And it just means you cannot prepare for the second leg properly, apart from the actual sheer volume of games. Even if you make changes, you can't actually prepare in the interim days that you need to do to try and prepare for a game of that magnitude. So you've just minimal time, really. So that's the nature of it at the moment. But we're not letting that alter our focus, really, on tomorrow's game, which is Thursday's game, which is a huge game. Of course, we've earned the right to be here. We look at the 2 teams that we have beaten. Vaduz, for example, got to the group stages 2 years ago. So for us to score 5 goals against them was 5 excellent goals, really, by the player. Jake Mulroney got 2 brilliant goals. Joe Redden scored a header, and out there Zach Elbasetti and Ramal Palmer scored really terrific goals. So well taken goals, and showed the extent of their talent really. In contrast, then the other game against Saba, who will push Quarterback for the league title this year. Really star-studded team in Saba, multinational team. They've scored 6 against Maccabi Haifa, so to keep 2 clean sheets over 120 minutes, that's a different quality. So to win both games was terrific by the players, and so we've earned the right to be here, and we've a bigger test now. This is we've got to really climb a mountain now. We've got to really push on to. This is a big test, and this is, the opportunity of a lifetime for the players, because that's our lifetime ambition. Some of them to maybe qualify for the group stages of European competition, and that can be really special, and that's incredible for them. And so everything that we're given, and give everything of ourselves now to prepare for the game on Thursday, because they're already set. The league has only started, but they had a good 4-2 win the weekend in their own league, and they've started well. So they've won both their rounds very convincingly. 10-1 the first round and 3-0 the second. So they've won their both rounds very convincingly. So we will have to be at our best to give ourselves a chance for sure. But we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, Besiktas beat teams from San Marino and Georgia in qualifying rounds 2 and 3. Stephen, you said in your post-match in last Thursday just about St. Pat's not being favourites for either round, that we did get through, winning both ties, winning 3 of the 4 matches, scoring in all of the games. What sort of confidence will that give the players heading into this tie?
Oh, we've done our homework. They're different. Every game is a different tactical challenge, so we have to set up accordingly. And but we always want to carry an attacking intent and the ability to score goals, and we've scored goals in all our games. So it's so the players can take confidence from that. And St. Pat's support have been really important in the game in Inchicore. They really gave us a huge lift ahead of the game against Vaduz at home, massive lift. And then away from home we brought strong travelling support, and that was a real tough game in Vaduz, and certainly passionate support in Tallaght against Saba. So listen, these are great games. Basketeer are, some terrific players. Piatek got 18 goals from Milan a couple of seasons ago, and he's been obviously just scored in the recent Euros. Pelkas, who we know well from obviously Greece, who's their playmaker, and they've got Özkan, who's played for Turkey. A lot of good players in midfield, and a lot of good players throughout the team. So they're an aggressive front foot team that really press high and play with speed in their attack. So it's a real challenge for us, and one that we'll have to meet head on.
Just to touch on the supporters, Stephen, we're speaking on Tuesday afternoon. The west and east stands of Tallaght Stadium are sold out, so there's only north stand tickets remaining for home supporters, and not just St. Pat's fans as well. League of Ireland fans, Irish football fans, I'm sure will be there to support the team and create a special atmosphere. And we're hopeful, as we have for the previous 2 home legs, to create a good result going to the away game. But just a word on the supporters, and I suppose we'd love as many Irish football fans as possible to be there to support the team.
Yeah, Irish football, absolutely. I mean, if the 7th place team in the League of Ireland, the Premier Division, were to qualify for the group stages of European competition, the hard way to go through into the 4th round and win the 4th round, that would speak volumes for the league. I feel if the 7th place team could do it, it shows the strength and depth in the league. And so for us, it is a really tough challenge. We're aware of that. We understand what we're up against, but we're really looking forward to the challenge and looking forward to the game. The players are excited about the game, and we want to we want to make sure that we absolutely fight for our lives on Thursday and give everything of ourselves.
Joe Redmond, the captain, spoke after the second round tie about the amount of time the squad have been together, travelling in hotels, in team meetings, training, playing games both domestically and in Europe, and just how close he feels the group are and the togetherness between players and staff, etc. That counts for a lot in these games when the players will need to depend on their man to their right and the man to their left in these big games. But the fact that the schedule has been so busy, they've been living in each other's pockets, and he just feels there's a real togetherness, which I'm sure you've seen. Yeah,
and listen, there is a balance, I think, when you're preparing for the European Games. There's so much information. The tactical challenge is different for each opponent. So you've a very short amount of time to get a lot of information on the training ground across. And then you have to be careful not to overdo that, because ultimately you want players to express themselves and show their own talent and show the full extent of their own skill set and talent, and so you don't overload players with every deep. But you do have to do extensive homework, because you've got to step up levels here, and they carry threats on many fronts, and we've got to more than match that and have the ambition to do that. And listen, it's having the home leg first has served us well in the other rounds, and we'll just have to believe in ourselves and look forward to Thursday.
Yeah, just on that, a final two, Stephen, you mentioned the positive results we got against Vaduz and against Saba in the home legs to take advantages to the away legs. It's same as in terms of home first, away second in this tie as well. Does that count for much in terms of, I suppose, the players have been able to do it twice so far?
Well, I don't know is the answer to that question. I mean, you can't be certain. Like, sometimes you have to sort of regroup once you get through around a group and start again. The momentum is important, that you can carry a level of momentum into games, and you have to make sure that when you're going through rounds under every week that fatigue doesn't set in. Hence the introduction of the Dundalk game in the middle of the 5.5 days. How crazy that is, but it's just these are things that you have to contend with and try and overcome. But it would be the first time in the history of the club to try and to get into the group stages. Only 2 clubs have ever done it, and mainly through winning the league and going through that way, but not really through going through. Difficult to go through to the fourth round and qualify. So if we do it, we'll do it the hard way, and but we must strive to do that, because the European wins are really, really special, and none would be more special than this one if the players can go and achieve that.